Eagles. Boy, oh boy. What a miserable time. Now, I know you're like, well, we beat the Bucs and, we finally got over the hump. We did. We did. I am happy about that. I'm happy about a win over them. I would have been much happier if it was a shootout and we won that way, sort of like the Rams game. But I am unhappy with being like a reverse Rams game where we're in the lead and the team comes back on us. Kevin Patullo and I have a headache. Everything that can be wrong is wrong right now over this game. It looked like our OC got his head out of his rear end at the beginning of the game. That was some of the best Eagles offense I had seen in a long time since Super Bowl. Since Super Bowl, that was some of the best offense I had seen. We got Hurts pitching it. We got Hurts diming it over the middle into the sides. We have a competent offense that mixes running and throwing, which is exactly how it should be. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. No team wants to be on the Saquon highlight reel, okay? They will sell their souls, their kids' souls, and their parents' souls to stay off the Saquon highlight reel. So anytime he's lined up in the backfield, they're bunched up and they're ready for him. And why in God's name does he keep running up the gut? Why? Why, Saquon? Even if the run is for you, why do you keep running up the gut, brother? Bounce off to the sides. Take a second to see how everything is developing and go a different way. Or back up off the line, because a couple of the handoffs that you and Jalen have been so close to the line of scrimmage that the minute they break through the line, they're on you. If you had backed up just a hair, then when they break through, you get a second to adjust and maybe beat them. Now, I'm not going to say you will all the time, but you get a chance to possibly beat them. But we go, like I said, a reverse Rams game where our offense was trash the whole first quarter. They took Patullo in the back and said, listen, either get it right or you're fired today. And he did. And Jalen and boys got it together and won that game. Back down 19. Now, I can't recall what the score was when the Bucs started going up. Or they never went up. But I can't recall what the score was. Let's see. So Eagles. Okay, so here it is. The Eagles had 24. And the Bucs had 6. Sounds familiar, right? Almost. So we had 26 last time to last week. The Rams had 26. Excuse me. Anywho, then they just start scoring long dive bombs. Now, to the layman's eyes, it seemed like our defense gave up, but that's not the case. Let's not let it be misunderstood. The defense had to be on the field too long. In the first half, where we had that balance of offense and defense, the defense got a chance to get some water, some Gatorade, some pickle juice, whatever they're drinking. They got a chance to get some air on them. And then they came out fresh. Coop out there making almost amazing picks. Now, I wish that would have been a pick, but it's all right. We got it back. But we got the defense having time to rest. We had the offense having time to rest. So guess what? With that balance, both sides of the ball looked phenomenal. The Bucs could do nothing. It was like a deer in headlights. Then, in the second half, when all the offense could do was go 3 and out, the defense got 90-second breaks and then had to be on the field for extensive periods of time in that heat where they did everything possible. That's when you started getting all those tugs on the jerseys where Quignon and group couldn't keep up. So they were trying to leverage themselves to keep up with the defenders, which I didn't like, but they were trying not to get beat. They were saying, listen, I'm so exhausted. The heat is taking a toll on me now because I'm not getting my breaks. And that's what they tried to do to stay in the game, right? We did have a ton of offensive penalties, uh, defensive penalties that moved the Bucs down the field, where they would have been punting it if it weren't for the penalties. They would have been giving the ball back to us. That game should have been 45 or 50 to, let's say, 12. Okay, I'm not going to say the Bucs don't score at all because they got a field goal in the first, they got a field goal in the second. I'm saying field goal every quarter. So I'm giving them 12. I'm not saying we're shutting them out every quarter. 12 points for them, 50 for us. We had 24 in the first, so I'm saying somewhere between 40 and 50 points for us. Had the game plan been the same. But no, Kevin Patullo, or whatever his name, says, all right, I'm going to make halftime adjustments. Kevin, do you understand what halftime adjustments are? Halftime adjustments are made when your offense is not performing the way they should, so you switch it. You do not switch the offense when it's lights out and when it's winning. You keep pounding the same way you are doing until it doesn't work. Then you make an adjustment. And those adjustments don't have to come on the quarter or on the half. Those adjustments need to be fluid. They need to be on demand. So as soon as you started running Saquon into a brick wall, you need to be like, all right, I wanted to try and run it, keep them honest. We're going back to it, right? That could have lasted 2 series. If you wanted to try 2 series with the running, fine. 2 series, and then you're back to basics. You're back to throwing it. You're back to airing it out. And guess what? It got so bad that they were like, okay, we hadn't targeted AJ. He's probably frustrated, or we know what AJ can do. He doesn't even have to be frustrated. We know what AJ can do. Let's target him. Then we started to force it to AJ. We threw one to him when he was double covered, and I mean on both sides. They just collapsed on him. That could have easily been an interception. Then we threw one to him that was overthrown. No problem. No QB makes every throw. Then we had another one where I think he dropped it. I think he had his hand on it, but he dropped it. But we were force-feeding AJ. Listen, I understand getting him in the game and getting him some action. He should. He absolutely should. But we need to make smart reads on that. It doesn't need to be no matter what, throw it to him. It needs to be one-on-one matchups, give him his chance. But double coverage, he only needs the ball in double coverage if he's beating the defenders and you're throwing it over him, like I said he did. But he overthrew AJ. Had he not overthrown him, that'd have been a great one because he could have either gotten tackled right away or broke off for a touchdown. But we cannot be forcing it to AJ, no matter what. The goal is to equally distribute the ball so the defenders don't know where you're going, so that AJ and Smitty and Goddard and everybody, like in the first half, can get their equal and fair touches. I'm sorry, but Patullo, he needs to be fired. This is OC malpractice. Swear to goodness, this is OC malpractice, what he's putting on this field. He can't put 2 halves together to save his life. And it looked like, again, like I said, the first quarter, it looked like he was gonna do it. But then that second half came. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. I'm not happy. And it's sad to be not happy in a win. Now I watched Mailata talk about it. And he said, listen, we haven't been able to beat this team. And to be able to beat them in this heat and in these circumstances is a win. I agree with you. right? I agree with you. You haven't been able to beat the Bucs. They were the Eagles' boogeyman. I promise you, I get it. I get it. But my Lotta, when I know that you and the boys could have put up double the points and I allowed half the points, that's concerning. And he did say it. He said we'll go and we'll look at film and see where we could have done better. Where you could do better is firing Patullo or letting them know that if he can't put two halves together in this next game against, who was it, the Broncos, I think. Who we got next? Where's the Eagles? Yeah, Broncos. If he can't put two halves together against the Broncos, then he is out of a job. I do not care that he's been with the Eagles for a long time. Whatever he was doing, put him back there. Maybe he was successful in his other capacity. Okay? We won't take that away from him. Maybe he was good at whatever he was doing before. But what he is not good at is being an OC. He's not. You can see how frustrated he makes the team in that second half and in the Rams game in the first half. You can see how downtrodden that the guys are. How they're getting off the field immediately when they shouldn't. How we letting Bake look good when he was looking pedestrian in that first quarter when the defense had time to rest. Our defense can shut him down. Listen, make no mistake. If we have to play the Bucs in the postseason, I have no worries now that we can take it. First of all, in postseason, it won't be 120 degrees. It'll still be warm in the South if we have to go there or if they have to come to the lake. It'll still be warm if it's there, but it won't be 100 and something in January. Be mid-80s. It'll be nice weather. So our defense and our offense won't have to have that heat blast that they did now. And by then, by the postseason, we should have it all wrapped up and all in sync. Now, I understand that there's some Bucs players that were hurt, so that they'll be back. But same with us. We have some players that are hurt. Nolan Smith and somebody else. I got a headache. We have some people on our side that are hurt. Lane is hurt, that will be back by then. I have no problems. I have no qualms in the fact that I think that we can take out Tampa from now on. That's been squashed for me because we didn't complete a pass in the second half and we still won because of how we performed in the first. And we need to perform like that in every game. The first half of this game is how we need to perform in every game that we play. Every game. We were looking around at each other at the Eagles place and we were like, where was this offense the whole season? This offense would have crippled our previous opponents. This offense would have crippled the Cowboys, would have crippled the Chiefs, and would have definitely been better against the Rams. Well, we saw that because they came back in the second half. That offense right there with his creativity, with his shovels, with his fake brotherly shove, which I love, how easy it was for Saquon to just trot in. That offense is mighty and powerful. That's the weapons that you have, where you can spread it around and you can get it to everybody. I think even Calcaterra had a catch. I know AJ is frustrated, but listen, AJ, you are the same thing that you are the passing threat that Saquon is to the rushing threat. So they are going to be all over you like white on rice. They definitely will be. Jalen and team have to either scheme you to a position to where you can be more effective, or the passes are going to have to come when they're least expecting it, or I don't know. I don't know exactly how to get you the productivity that you want because I'm not a coach, but it will come. It absolutely will come if Patullo keeps up. See, imagine if he had kept up that offense from the first, right? You would have had many catches because the ball was being spread around. So by the second half, it had been the time for you to put a light show on. You want some deep routes, you want some crosses, you want some shallows, whatever. You could have ate. But because they slammed Saquon into a wall and then tried to force feed you, it was no good. Man, this is it's like I said, it's not cool to win, especially against a team where you never win and still feel bad. That's not a good feeling. My only solace would have been is if the Chiefs had lost, and they didn't. The Chiefs beat the brakes off the Ravens. So what does that tell me? Excuse me. Now they did have Worthy back. So they didn't have him against us. So we knew that when they got Worthy and I think Rice back, that they were going to have more weapons and Patrick was going to be able to let it cut loose a little bit, and we saw that. So whatever Chiefs, if we have to face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, we understand that. And if those two guys are back, it's going to be different than the week 2 matchup. We get that. But the Chiefs better realize that we're going to be a different Eagles team than that week 2 matchup as well. We'll both be different teams. But we don't fear them at all. We do not fear the Chiefs at all. So I'm straight with that. But if by some miracle, I still don't think the Chiefs are making it. I think it's going to be the Bills. I think it's going to be Bills, Eagles. Eagles win 38-30. You hear me say it every time so that you know that I have been saying it from the beginning. But let's look around, okay? The Steelers beat the Vikings. They were crushing them, but the Vikings came back a little bit. The Falcons beat the Commanders. After being shut out by the Panthers, the Falcons come out and beat the After being shut out by the Panthers, the Falcons come back and beat the Commanders. That's crazy because the Commanders are supposed to be like the Eagles' number one, opponent in the NFC East. I don't know. Now we know Jaden's out, but still, the Giants beat the Chargers. Oh my goodness. Texans shut out the Titans. The Patriots 42 on the Panthers. Oh my God. The Bills, for some reason, were kind of stagnant against the Saints. I didn't watch that game, but the scores kept coming up. And they could never really pull away until the very end. That was weird to me. I don't know what happened in that game. I'll probably have to watch some highlights. The Lions beat the Browns. That was expected. The Jaguars beat the 49ers. The Colts, I actually was wondering if the Colts were going to beat the Rams. It looks like it was a close game, 27-20. If Danny Dimes, a.k.a. Indiana Jones, had beat the Rams, then you would have known that, listen, you can't fool with the Colts. They're going to be a real problem this year. We'll see. The Bears got them another dub over the Raiders. I already mentioned that the Ravens got squashed by the Chiefs. And this is what capped off the night. Them dirty, funky Cowgirls tied the Packers. Now, Packers, we expected this 40 points. We all expected 40 points from you. But we expected almost 0 points from the Cowboys. And you let them tie you in OT. And everybody was crowning the Packers as the jewel of the league. Oh, they were foaming at the mouth. The Packers are now the number 1 Super Bowl threat over the Eagles. They got Parsons. They got this. They got that. They are the team to beat. They lost last week. And they tied the funky Cowboys in overtime. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? The Packers are not the number 1 threat that everybody thought they were. They're a good team. Make no mistake. We can't overlook them when we play them later. But they are not this world beater team that everybody thought they was, crowning them in week 1 and week 2. This is what the problem is with people having these kind of thought processes so early in the year when teams aren't firing on all cylinders. I said this last week. The Saints last year, the first 2 games, they scored like a total of almost 100 points against their opponents. Then in week 3, they fought the Eagles and lost. And they weren't the same the rest of the year. They fell off the rest of the year. Stop crowning champions in week 2 and week 3. You don't crown champions really until the Super Bowl. Excuse me, I apologize. You never know what'll happen. The Lions last year, who were thought to be the greatest team since sliced bread, got beat by the Commanders handily. And then the Commanders, now I'm about to get off of here. The Commanders got beat by the Eagles. And then the inevitable three-peat Chiefs got beat by the Eagles. You never know what'll happen. But Kevin Patullo, you're on notice. I'm getting upset. We won. We're 4-0. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds. Patullo, you're on fire watch.